I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Wayne
Second.
and Diane. Roll call, please.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert,
Yes.
Mr. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, communications and visitors to the board.
Uh,
Mr. Bauer?
Good
Reading of the
evening.
minutes.
Yeah.
Tonight we have a construction update. If you've been out and about or around the school district lately, you'll see that our intermediate, high school, junior high, and behind our Salem Township Elementary is all very active with construction equipment. And I have some gentlemen here from Skanska tonight and from Emergent Design to give the board an update on our schedule and where we are with our additions in our new pre-K1 building. I think Dan is going to share his screen and he's going to have a presentation for us to look at.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Are you able to see it now?
Nope.
No.
Not yet.
There it goes.
There we go.
Alrighty, so we got a quick presentation we'll give to everybody. So the agenda I've got, just a quick design update for each of the projects, and then a budget update where we stand with all the dollars for the project. So design update, we've issued the construction documents and awarded the contracts for all 4 of the main projects: the intermediate school, the high school, the junior high, and the early elementary school. Design items that we're still working on with Immersion is there's a budget for renovations at Salem Elementary that needs to be finalized. We're still working with the county on the final work that'll have to be done for the road work at the high school, junior high, and the early elementary. We still are not sure on the emergency responder yet. There's possibility we may need that. And we won't know that until the structures are up and in place. So once they're up and in place, we can start doing some testing and see if that'll be required. Have a repeater on those projects. And then we need a final FF&E package, which will be issued next year. So, and that'll be for all the projects, any of the FF&E that needs to be bought. So that's where we stand with design and with buyout. As far as the project updates, we'll start with the intermediate school. So we had some overheads taken a couple weeks ago. So we're showing those. Intermediate school scheduled for completion late this summer, so that it'll be ready for move-in in the fall. I believe we were showing August 10th, and I know that date's still up in the air, but that's what we've been working towards. We're getting close. You can see we've started all the interior finishes on that project. And we're starting to put in ceiling tile on some of the perimeters. We've got hard tile going in the bathrooms. We have most of the ceiling grid is done. Drywall is just about done. They started putting down the flooring this week, as well as some of the millwork is being installed. We started the air handling unit last week and had that running. The mason has finished up. So you'll start seeing the final site grading here in the next week or so, and getting the sidewalks put in place so we can get that finished up. The last things you'll see done on that, they'll be done early to mid-August, will be the metal panel deliveries for the last bit of the outside, as well as the doors and hardware on that project. Going to the high, yep. Okay, going to the high school, you can see the overhead. We've gotten all the building pads complete. The foundations are currently being installed. We've relocated the utilities. This shows a completion of next summer. We have also started all of the VAV replacement inside the building. All the old VAVs have been taken out. The new VAVs will be delivered in the next week or so. They'll start installing those and getting the controls. The target is to have, we weren't sure, if you remember when we originally started that, if some of that work would spill into nights once the students came back. We're now targeting having that all complete by the end of July, first week of August. So that will be done with all the VAV replacement. Then the only piece that'll need to be done in the existing as far as fixing the conditioned air is the chillers, which we said we wouldn't replace until end of the cooling season, because we didn't want to take down the chillers for 2 weeks in the middle of summer. So they're scheduled to be delivered at the end of September, early October. We'll find a good time to swap the chillers out, and we'll be done with all of that work. You can see here, we had some plumbing we had to run in the corridor. You can see we've installed the heating hot water and the chilled water pipe in the existing corridor for those new chillers. And again, another shot of the overhead and the aerial. At the junior high, same story as at the high school. We have the foundations are installed. We've started to mobilize the mason to get the foundation block in. Utilities have been relocated. You can also see in there in the top right, we've started to extend the parking lot. That'll be used for contractor parking originally, and then next year, that'll be final asphalt paved. So that will extend that parking lot out. Again, this is for completion next fall. But you'll start seeing the masonry walls go up. We'll get the slab on grade poured in the next couple of weeks, and then you'll see the masonry walls start to go up for the main addition on the junior high. You can see there are some shots of the foundations as they were being installed, and then another overhead. At the early elementary school, you can kind of see we've got up at the top left is where the new detention pond is. That'll also be where the new playground for the Salem Elementary goes. We'll have that ready this summer. The building itself, the building pad is done. The foundations are complete. The elevator pits are poured. The foundation block will start later this week or early next week. We just finished the ring road for the construction road here this week on that. And that's kind of progressing according to the schedule. That'll be done again end of next summer. We did put, just for everybody, we do have we dug some temporary holes where the dry wells will go just to control that water, Greg. I know there were some concerns at one point, so we've addressed that, and I think we've gotten that to be a lot better controlling that water. So, so that's done. You can see there, pouring the foundations. You can see the perimeter wall foundation being installed. The building pad's already in place, and then obviously you can see with the building pad the general outline of the new pre-K and K building. As far as the budget goes, we're sitting pretty similar to where we were the last time we met. We're showing a variance of $1.3 million, which really was the cost of all the mechanical equipment that we've agreed would be paid from earned interest. We do have a pretty good amount of owner contingency and construction contingency that we haven't had to dig into yet. So the plan is to hopefully be able to use some of that for some of the alternates. And we do have a meeting scheduled to review the alternates, some flooring changes and things like that, to see if we can save some money and be able to use some of that for some of the alternates at the district. So that's where the budget sits. Again, we've bought out, 90% of the project. All that's left is this little $1.4 million to buy out, and that's for the Salem Township work. So we still have that reserved for that.
Okay.
So, all we want to say is thank you to the community. I know it's been tough here the last 3 or 4 months, but we do see the hard work with with our office out here at Salem, with the staff handing out lunches and having to work through all this. So they've been extremely cooperative with us and the staff. So we just wanted to say thank you to everybody that is trying to help make our job easier. And, if you need anything from us, please let us know.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Any questions?
We appreciate all the work with Skanska and Immersion. They've been great to work with, and any concerns we have, they've been very quick to research and help us. We're still in the process of looking at road improvements out in front of the high school on 22 and 3, as well as over on Welsh Road. We're still working with the village to look at what might need to be done on Welsh Road. And they're on 22 and 3, those improvements are going to be required by the state, and we're working on developing framework to get that work done and get that scheduled as well. The other item I have is just kind of an update regarding our reopening plan. This is just going to be a general kind of an update. We're working through the refinement of our remote learning framework. That's pretty much been done. In the event that we have to go back out because there's been a flare up and schools end up closed. We are looking at a couple of options. Obviously, we want to reopen. We believe that kids need to be back in school, and that's the best learning environment for our students and their families. So we'll be working through that over the next couple of weeks. Governor DeWine was supposed to give us an update on what the state expectations were related to schools reopening. And he was supposed to have done that last Thursday, but then they put it off to today. And in his press conference today, he put it off until next Tuesday. So like there's kind of a feeling like we either can't handle the truth and they want to put off telling us that as long as they can, or they don't really know what they want to do with it. The closure order that is in place by the state health department goes through the 30th of June, and he was asked about that today, and he said that they would have some comment on that next Tuesday. So I'm not sure exactly where they may or may not go with that. So that's where we are. We hope to have our plan completed and put together. I will tell you there will be a remote option that we will offer families, as well as an in-seat option. The big question that we have is around bus transportation as well. Our county health department has been great to work with. They've been very supportive, and in my weekly meetings with the other county superintendents, our county health department has been great to work with as we look at, there's a county draft framework that's out there that we're working off of. So that's where we are at this point. The staff is continuing to work on this, and as soon as we get it completed, we will get that out to the community and have some procedures and processes around how we're going to reopen, and we'll get that communicated. And so that's all I have on the informational part for the agenda tonight.
Thank you, Dan. That was a good job. All right, going back to the agenda, I need a motion to accept the reading of the minutes.
I'll move.
Okay, Tony, and who was the other one?
Diane.
Diane. All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Siebert,
Yes.
Mr. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now I think,
Bobby,
Sure.
if I could pause for just a minute, if our gentlemen and guests from Skanska and Immersion want to jump off, would that be all right if they jumped
Sure.
off? Yeah.
Sure.
they don't want to sit for the rest of this.
Boy, oh boy, you kicking us out or what?
You are
Yeah, you
welcome to
stay if you
stay.
want.
Hey, you're the one that accused me of eating your food.
There was no accusation, there was only reality, but you have yourself,
Sure.
guys have yourself a nice night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Great, take care.
All right, now we'll have treasurer's reports and recommendations.
Yes, under letter C, item 1, I ask for the board's approval of the monthly financial statements, the bank reconciliation, and also includes a financial summary of each individual fund, 2 different appropriation reports, and a revenue report for the month of May.
I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Wayne,
I'll second.
Martin, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, under item 2, I ask for the board's approval of the final permanent appropriations as presented for the end of this fiscal year, which actually ends a week from today on June 30th, 2020.
Motion, please.
I'll move.
Tony,
I'll
I will-
second.
Diane. Any discussion?
These are permanent appropriations. These will be filed with the county. Of course, all of our expenditures have to be within appropriations as required by the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert,
yes,
Mr. Hamlin.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, under item, oop, didn't save. Didn't save. Hold on one second.
It's okay. We're not in a rush.
I don't know why it's not saving. All right, I think it's okay. All right, next we ask under item 3, I'm asking for the board's approval of the final amended certificate of estimated resources for the current fiscal year 20.
I need a motion.
I'll move.
Tony,
second,
Wayne, any discussion?
This is our, what you have your certificate estimated resources, and this kind of ties together with the permanent appropriations. You can't appropriate more than you estimate. This will also be filed with the county auditor for year end June 30th.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert,
yes,
Mr. Hamlin.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, under item 4, I ask for the board's approval of temporary appropriations for this coming fiscal year 21, which begins July 1st.
I need a motion, please.
I'll move.
Diane, thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Martin. Any discussion?
These are temporary appropriations. The final ones will be approved in September. These are roughly 3/4 of our total budget appropriations for the year. We'll iron out some of the different areas between now and when we pass the final ones, which I'll bring back to you, like I said, in the September board meeting.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert,
yes,
Mr. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Nemish.
Yes.
Thank you. And next, I ask for the board's approval of the following 2 contracts as listed.
I need a motion, please.
I'll move.
second,
Is that Martin and Wayne? Discussion.
Yes, the 2 contracts. One is with Did You Know Publishing, and they are engaging with the district for professional learning and engagement for cultural proficiency within the district. And then the other one is with Schoology, and that is our web-based learning management system we've been using for several years now for teachers to lesson plans, syllabuses, and so on, and communicate with their students online.
Any questions?
A
Roll
quick
call, please.
question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, to clarify that 12 hours, what's the capacity? How many people can we include in that?
In talking with them, we can include as many people as we identify. And we're looking at our leadership staff to begin with. We do anticipate doing some additional work as we look at the beginning of the year. There most likely is going to be a modification on the front end of our school start calendar when we do our final plan. And we're looking at some initial training as well for the staff, and that'll be probably a separate proposal as well.
Thank you.
We also will get access to, they have a website and a toolkit that we'll gain access to as a part of this contract.
Will everybody get to use the website or not?
Yeah, we'll be able to utilize that with everybody, yes.
Okay, all right. Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert,
yes,
Mr. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Mish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath.
Yes.
Thank you. And that is all I have. Thank you.
All right, I guess it's the superintendent's reports and recommendations.
Thank you. I'd ask the board's approval for all items listed under number 1, personnel.
Need a motion.
I'll move.
Tony, thank you.
I'll second.
Diane, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Siebert,
yes,
Mr. Mr. Hamlin. Make sure I got the right one.
Yes.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd ask the board's approval for item 2, a blended learning option for the 2020-2021 school year.
Motion, please.
so moved.
Wayne,
I'll second.
Martin, discussion?
Right before the board meeting, I was in a discussion with some other superintendents and ODE. Last week, House Bill 164 was passed and the governor signed it into law. And there was a remote element that was referenced in that House Bill 164 law. All of us were told that we needed to file this blended learning declaration if we were going to have the possibility of being able to operate remotely for a period of time in the event that we were closed down because of a reoccurrence of COVID. Well, as of a half hour ago, ODE is indicating that there's a different path to follow if we want to do the remote element. So just as a precaution, I'm asking the board to approve this in case ODE changes its mind or we get some other guidance of what we have to do in order to be able to incorporate remote learning into our opening year plan.
That makes sense. Cover all our bases.
Mhm.
All right, I need roll call, please.
Mr. Siebert,
Yes,
Mr. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is staff recognition for the 2019-20 school year. I'd ask the board to acknowledge and approve the recognition of the staff listed.
I need a motion, please.
I'll move.
Thank you, Tony.
second,
Wayne, thank you. Any discussion? I just like to say, I think that's a nice thing, Mr. Power. I think that's a good thing that, I know we always do it when we're in school. So I just thought it was a nice thing. Thank you.
Yeah, we really do. We usually host a dinner and we usually serve the staff and our food service prepares it and we assist. And we didn't get that opportunity this year, just like we lost a lot of other celebratory moments
Yeah.
because of our closure. But
All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert.
yes,
Thank you.
thanks. I'd ask the board's approval for the board policies as listed in item number 4.
I need a motion.
I'll move.
Diane,
I'll second.
Martin, any discussion? That was quite a list.
Yes, it is. I'd say one policy of note is IKFC. IKFC is actually an updated policy that requires a more documented process for those students who are at risk of not being able to graduate from high school. And I think it's a very good improvement over what was there before.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nemish,
Yes.
Ms. Horvath,
Yes.
Ms. Grice,
Yes.
Mr. Siebert,
yes,
Mr. Hamlin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, under new business, we have first reading of updated board policies, so we don't have to move on that one. The emergency levy renewal discussion. So what's on the,
I
It's on the
put that
board.
on there as a placeholder to just kind of update the board. We did have a BAC meeting, and we're still working on the survey element that you mentioned last month. If the board is going to consider putting something on the November ballot, there'll probably be a need for a special board meeting between now and the July board meeting in order to pass the resolution of urgent necessity. And then at the July board meeting, the resolution to proceed. I believe that that final filing has to be over to the Board of Elections by August 5th.
Correct.
So I did want to make you aware of that. I think, Terry, you did some research on how many more opportunities we might have to renew this. There was a thought, I think, at the last board meeting that November was our last opportunity. Could you want to share with the board what you found out?
Yes, actually, if we renew at any point during calendar year 21, there will be no break in it because we're still collecting the amount that's coming from the emergency levy, because it's assessed for 20. The last year of collections is 21, so we can actually still pass in 21 since it's still being collected and it's still considered a renewal. So we wouldn't lose that 12.5% credit.
so with our levy passage rates, don't you think it's smart to go ahead and put it on in November? I'm asking this for the whole board.
Oh.
What's the board think?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think, yeah, I think especially with the council of the BAC, I think they also felt like going in November was probably a wise decision.
Anybody else have any comments?
I
How
would
about you?
just agree that putting it on in November is a wise thing to do.
Gives us one more chance. What do you think, Terry?
My opinion would be that, yeah, based on our historical performance, which, we're not on the ballot all the time, but we do fail, obviously. But on the flip side, it all depends on how the economy is doing, to be honest, too. It depends where we're going to go, how this virus is. I think there's a lot of moving pieces to it, to be honest. Whether how we'll do, but it obviously doesn't hurt. It's going to be needed whether it's November of 20 or into 21. It won't make any difference. It'll be the same, no tax increase either way.
Right. In fact, it'll be a decrease, won't it?
The millage will be a little bit lower. It was last time, and it was certified by the county auditor. It was around 9.92 mils, I believe.
Yeah,
And then we're currently collecting at 10 right now.
that's what I've been telling people anyway. Thank you.
Is the board, when you think about the issue itself, there are some options there. There's a straight renewal, which would continue to come up every 5 years. There could be a change to a 10-year term where it would come up every 10 years, or you could consider putting back on the same item, which is a substitute emergency levy that would have it be continuing.
Mhm.
So maybe that's something we need to discuss at our meeting, maybe.
Well, I've just tried to get some consideration ahead of time because that urgent necessity element would probably need to include that, wouldn't it, Terry?
All right. Okay.
Yes,
I
yeah,
got-
depending on what type, there's different language involved, depending on what type of levy you put back on for the
All right,
resolution.
so we need some information from the rest of the board members. What do you think?
Bobby,
I
I
think,
What, Wayne?
I am in favor. I thought long and hard about this, is having an issue on the November ballot. These are uncertain times, but we really don't have much of a choice.
Right.
It is an emergency.
Right, but what do you think about, should we go for just a renewal? Should we go for a 10-year renewal, or should we go for the same thing we went before?
Well,
You
I
think?
I like just the renewal at this point, hoping that things will pick up for the whole community. So that would be my first thoughts.
Good. That's what we want we want your input. Okay, Diane, what about you?
Well, ideally, I would like to have to come back to and ask people for this in the least amount of times possible, because I feel like people, it's just, they're not receptive to it. And I just don't know that we're in the climate that is going to, that we're going to be successful with that right now. So I think a renewal is, unfortunately, probably our best bet. But in an ideal situation, I would prefer not to have to keep going back and going back and going back. It's just not received well.
That's true. All right, Martin.
Bobby, are you asking about the difference between the 5-year, the 10-year, et cetera?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, I think my preference would be 5-year, just because it gives the community the opportunity to see it again in 5 years rather than 10 years. I certainly understand that there is a little bit of ballot burnout. People don't want to see us on the ballot as often. But the flip side of that is that you, as a citizen, you have a greater opportunity to voice your opinion sooner rather than having to wait longer. So I'm in favor of the 5-year option.
Tony?
I am as well. I agree with Martin. I would like to, obviously you don't want to be back on the ballot every 4th to 5th year to get them renewed, but at this point in time with the uncertainty in the economy and what the election in November might look like, I'm more inclined to go with the a 5-year straight renewal.
And I kind of concur, except that, you know, it seems like and it's less than 5 years because you have to get ready for it. So it just seems like that's all we do. We spend such important, our administrators spend such important time that they could be using for school on levies. But right now, I agree. I think 5 years is going to be the one that we should put on. So.
Okay, would the board, would the board like to schedule a special meeting now? Look at your calendars for a couple of weeks out.
Yeah, let me get my calendar. Hold on.
Would the 14th be something that's workable, Greg, that Tuesday?
Yeah, the 14th would work. July the 14th.
July 14th. Yeah, that'd be good for me.
Are we talking 7 o'clock and in person or online?
It we'll have to wait and see what the governor does on Tuesday, if he's going to extend that order with our facility closure or not.
Okay.
I'd like to try to meet in person in a socially distanced fashion. It would limit kind of who could be in the room, but we are also going to stream it as well. So anybody that, if there wasn't space, people could see it or watch it.
Would it be 7?
You want to look at maybe 6:30? We typically do like a little earlier time. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's fine
I
with
can
me.
make the 14th work at 6:30.
Okay, special July the 14th at 6:30, if possible, socially distanced in the central office panther room.
That's good for me.
And then we'll get the resolution of urgent necessity prepped, and at this point, that'll be the only agenda item that'll be there for the board.
Yeah, I'll get that rolling, taken care of.
That's great. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
We have that under our belt. Warren County Career Center report. Well, we haven't had our meeting yet, but we will be meeting at Green Tree over by Atrium Hospital, socially distancing for our board meeting. So we're going to be able to see some of the new things that they've added over there. So that's what we're doing for the Career Center right now. And hold on. Board reports, that was in our packet, right?
Mhm.
And next board meeting.
Special meeting on July the 14th at 6:30 and the regular July 28th board meeting at 7 o'clock is the next regular board meeting.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? This is the time to voice your opinion. I hate these Zoom meetings.
I'm not a fan either.
Yeah, I don't care for them. All right. I guess we can call for an adjournment. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll
I'll
move.
move.
Diane and was that Tony?
Yes.
That's
And Tony. All in favor? Or
Aye.
roll call. Wait a minute. Let's do
I'll
roll
do
call.
roll.
Roll call,
Mrs. Grice?
please. Yes.
Mrs. Grice? Yes. Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mr. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Ms. Horvath?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Everybody
Good night,
showing up.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.